Welcome to the Gregory Neesmith Show. Let's get personal about the news and the culture. Shout out to all the underdogs, to my people, and even the occasional Trump supporter that might have accidentally found the show. Appreciate you all. You know, this is the place where we get into politics, culture, personal development, put it in a blender, mix it all up, and it spits out a special delivery of underdog stuff. And, you know, we get into the uns. The unbelievable, the unavoidable, the unjust, the unsaid, the uninhibited. You get it by now. A bunch of underdog stuff. And just as a disclaimer, for those who may be new to the program, this ain't CNN. This ain't the New York Times. This ain't Fox News. This ain't MSNBC. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But they cover the news. They commentate about it. But what we do here is we get personal about it. We get personal about the news and the culture. I'm going to stop fighting the momentum. Clearly people want to talk about, are we ready for a woman to be president? We're going to get into glass cliffs. And no, I don't mean glass ceilings. I mean glass cliffs. And we're going to talk women. We're going to talk politics. We're going to talk culture. Let's get into glass cliffs. And I thought about this. It's Women's History Month, politics, glass cliffs, glass ceilings. And the reason why I chose this week to focus on women in politics as we honor and celebrate women making history in the culture in America is because this happened this week. She's back.
If you look at the map of the United States, there's all that red in the middle where Trump won. Now, I win the coasts, I win, Illinois and Minnesota, places like that. But what the map doesn't show you is that I won the places that represent. If you look at the map of the United States, there's all that red in the middle where Trump won. Now, I win the coasts, I win, Illinois and Minnesota, places like that. But what the map doesn't show you is that I won the places that represent 2/3 of America's gross domestic product. So I won the places that are optimistic, diverse, dynamic, moving forward. And his whole campaign, Make America Great Again, was looking backwards. You didn't like black people getting rights. You don't like women, getting jobs. You don't want to, see that Indian American succeeding more than you are. Whatever your problem is, I'm going to solve it.
She's back. And this is what some people were saying.
And what Hillary Clinton is doing there, and she doesn't even realize it, is she's making the Gordon Gekko argument of like, hey, all the places that have a high GDP and all the places that are dynamic and creative and moving forward, that's the places I won. And then she goes on to explain in a clearer way, listen, it was all the backwards people who are racist and sexist, and they're bad people. They're the ones who voted against me. Now, first of all, I think what she's saying is factually wrong. But second of all, you couldn't craft a worse message as a politician to try to win elections in the future. Because what she's saying is you're all deplorables if you're against me. If you're for me, you're a good person by definition. And so therefore what you're doing is you're saying the way everything worked to this point, let's just set it in stone, because I'm not going to try to get new voters. I'm not going to try to say my ideology should be appealing to you for reasons X, Y, and Z. I'm going to shame you if you don't already agree with me.
She's back. Is America ready for a woman to be president? This is a show for underdogs. And one of the largest underdog groups in America are women. Think about it. We think it's so tough to be a woman, and women make up over half of the population, that we need a month to celebrate them. That's how hard we made it. A month to celebrate half of the population, because it's not easy being a woman. We've had some people call in, and it's been 50-50. Some people said America's ready for a woman president. Some people said it's not. I mean, truth be told, if we want to look at the numbers, America seemed to be ready. 60-something million people voted for a woman to be president in 2016. More people voted for a woman than voted for a man. So let's not, lose perspective on some of the data. But all that being said, some people think we're ready, some people don't. Maybe it was just we had the wrong candidate. Could that be the challenge? That America is ready for a woman, they just weren't ready for Hillary Clinton? So I looked into a couple things because I was curious. Is America ready for a woman president? But first, let's mix in a little bit of shout outs to women for Women's History Month. Because before Hillary ran for president, there was this woman.
But when you are a catalyst for change in any society, you have to be prepared to take the insults, the abuses, the misapprehensions, the skeptics, those who are not ready for change. You have to be prepared to take all of these kinds of situations that would immediately develop when you go against a tradition in this country.
Shout out to Shirley Chisholm, the first African-American woman to make a major party run to become president of the United States back in the 1970s. And she was also a congressperson here in the great state of New York for, I believe, 6 or 7 terms. And then, of course, we had this woman almost become president.
And I can't believe we just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet. Thanks to you and to everyone who's fought so hard to make this possible. This is really your victory. This is really your night. And if there are any little girls out there who stayed up late to watch, let me just say, I may become the first woman president, but one of you is next.
Oh, we know that unfortunately she didn't become the next, but maybe this woman who we get to shout out for Women's History Month may become the first woman to be president and the next woman to be president.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Became a mantra for me. What it said is, I am responsible for the choices that I make in my life. I am responsible. I am responsible. No matter what you do, the energy of what you do, what you say, and most important, the energy of who you are is going out into the world, into your home, into your relationships, and that energy is always coming back to you. You are responsible for the energy that you are pulling out into the world, because that very energy, bam, is coming right back to you every single time.
And you know who that is, Underdogs. It's a television producer, talk show host, film actress, producer, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. I always have trouble with that word. She's into philanthropy. She is best known for a talk show that ran from 1986 to 2011. And after her show, she launched her own TV network. Growing up, she had a troubled childhood. She was sexually abused by multiple relatives and family and friends, but she made it through all those tough and challenging times. She's a genius, and she started with nothing, but has created an empire for herself through her various businesses and projects, and that is, Oprah Winfrey. And why do I bring her up? Because we're talking Women's History Month. We're talking politics. We're talking underdog stuff. We're talking about Hillary, she's back, Clinton in the news. There was Shirley Chisholm before her. Hillary made her run at it. And maybe Oprah will be next to make a run, and maybe in 2020 become the first woman president of the United States of America. Is America ready for a woman president? According to polls, we are. Supposedly, 8 in 10 Americans said that they're ready. Now, maybe you think that people were just trying to be nice when the pollsters called them up and they didn't want to sound bad. But if it's true, 8 in 10 Americans believe we're ready, they're ready. Let me know what you think. Daryl says on the online comment, considering I have 2 sisters, several sister-in-laws, it pains me to say this, but America is not ready for a woman president. They just had the opportunity, and they failed to elect one due to numerous excuses. I'm tired of hearing about how bad HRC was as a candidate. There's a difference between an imperfect friend and an enemy of the state. Hillary was your imperfect friend, the one that drinks too much or spends too much. However, Trump is literally in bed with our mortal enemy, Russia. That's all you really need to know. Hillary isn't perfect. Trump is an enemy of the state. And Mueller, Robert Mueller, is going to prove it. That's Daryl weighing in on his thoughts. Underdogs, how do you feel about this? Are we ready? Are we not? Is Daryl on point? Or you slightly disagree with them? So I want to know, who do you think are likely front runners to be the next president of the United States? Do you think Trump's going to win a second term, or do you think there'll be some Democrat or independent? Is it going to be Bernie Sanders? Or since we're talking about women and Women's History Month, is it going to be someone like Elizabeth Warren? She's a Democratic senator from Massachusetts. She's been saving campaign money and making political allies that can help her if she decides to run against Trump. Do you think it's going to be Oprah? Could she be the next president of the United States in 2020? Or Kamala Harris, a Democratic senator from California, who has been one of the top 3 contenders to win the Democratic Party presidential nomination, according to a lot of articles and a lot of people who are in the prediction game? Or could it be Kirsten Gillibrand? To all my New Yorkers out there, Kirsten Gillibrand from New York, Democratic senator. She may be running too. She has been voting against Trump in anything and everything she can. This could be a plan to distinguish herself when it comes time to run in 2020. Or someone that I didn't even know about till researching this topic, and shout out to Megan, my producer, who always gets me all my information, all my audio clips, has me ready to rock and roll every Sunday. Megan found this when looking into who are the top 5 women potential candidates to be the next president of the United States in 2020. That top 5 included Kamala Harris, Oprah Winfrey, Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand, and this woman, Amy Klobuchar, a senator from the Midwest, which is a part of the country where Trump was able to win to become the president of the United States. Maybe she has a chance. This Senator, Miss Amy Klobuchar. And please forgive me if I have pronounced her name incorrectly. Those are the top 5, according to a lot of reports and articles and news stories and betting people. Who's on your list? Is it going to be Trump or somebody else? And do you think that somebody else might actually be one of these 5 women that I just named? Because supposedly, according to a CNN poll back in 2016, 8 of 10 Americans are ready for a female president. 76% of women are ready. 83% of men said they're ready. The breakdown by political lines: 90% of Democrats say they're ready for a female president, for a woman as president, and 68% of Republicans said they're ready for a woman to be president. Are you ready? Well, we just might be ready, and it has something to do with glass cliffs. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this idea of the glass cliff concept. It was developed by Dr. Ryan and Professor Haslam from the School of Psychology at the University of Exeter. The concept examines what happens when women and other minority groups take on leadership roles. What they found is that women tend to be appointed to leadership positions under very different circumstances than men. It's also shown that women tend to be appointed to leadership positions that have greater risk of criticism and greater risk of failure. Women are more likely to be promoted to head of a company when the company is facing a downturn or a crisis. Women are more likely to be forced out of office than a man. This could be because the women usually get the office and the company is in terrible shape. And the company, if the company doesn't bounce back quickly, then folks want to get rid of that person in leadership. And that is the idea of the glass cliff, where women or also people of color, they get their shot, but they get their shot in a bad situation. But when you don't have many shots and you kind of can't wait for the next CEO role to come along or the next leadership role to come along, you kind of take it because you don't know when the next one's coming. And so often the ceiling's cracked because you got the job. You're now the CEO, but you're on a cliff. And if you're the CEO of a publicly traded company, you got activist investors coming for you. You got the street, Wall Street watching. And if things don't turn around quickly, then it's like, she's got to go. Or that brother or sister's got to go. It's a glass cliff. But the good news is America might have a real bad CEO right now. America might be in a downturn or a crisis. And according to the glass ceiling concept, when things get real bad, oftentimes we turn potentially to a woman or person of color. Donald Trump just might bring America its first woman president, if you believe that this one won't be about a glass ceiling, but it'll be more about a glass cliff. Underdogs, let me know your thoughts. Supposedly, 8 in 10 Americans are ready for a woman president. Supposedly, there's been research about this thing called a glass cliff. Let me know. Who are your top 5 likely candidates to be the next president of the United States? If you don't think Trump's going to win, that might mean you think an independent or a Democrat's going to win. I've seen some lists. Folks like Elizabeth Warren, Oprah, Christian Gillibrand, Kamala Harris are some of the people on the list. I'm sure folks like Bernie are in there too. Who you got? And do you believe in this thing called the glass cliff? Have you even heard of the glass cliff? And with that, if you've ever listened to the show before, I think you know how I'm going to end the show. I'm going to end it with my favorite quote. Say it with me if you know it. Underdogs, can't nobody do it like you do it. Nobody. I'm going to say that one more time. Underdogs, can't nobody do it like you do it. Nobody.